But next up, we have Michelle Mannering, and she's also known as the Hackathon Queen or the Queen of GitHub. Hello, Michelle. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good. Now, rumor has it that you have a particularly rare sample of GitHub stickers with OctoKitty. Now, is that true?
I do not know of what you speak, but I have a very large collection of stickers with lots and lots of Octocats. So,
That's awesome.
hopefully when we go back to IRL events, if you ever see me, I always have a big stash of stickers on me. So please always ask. I'll always be happy to give you lots of GitHub stickers.
Ooh, now you heard it here. Now, I believe that you are today going to give us a bunch of tips and tricks and hidden gems on how to use GitHub a lot better.
That is correct. Super excited.
That's awesome. Now, I am going to monitor the questions in Slido as they come in, and we might take those at the end, or as you prefer. You can also, interact with the YouTube chat as well. We're pretty informal here, so I will let you do your thing. And thanks again, Mish.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Really excited to be here with you all. It's super great to see the chat popping up. I love watching that quiz and seeing people get things right or wrong. I'm from New South Wales, so I was like, "Ooh, somebody clicked New South Wales for NDC." I was like, "Yay, New South Wales represent!" So it's really exciting. The talk's been great so far, and I hope this one is going to be just as awesome for you. I will be watching the YouTube chat at the same time. So feel free to comment. I might make comments on what you're saying as well. But feel free to comment on things as we're going or say hi. And we'll take questions at the end from Slido. So let's jump into it. All right, so GitHub like a boss. So lots of people will say, Mish, what are some of your top tips for doing GitHub? So this is going to be what they are now. Also, I just realized I didn't change my title on that one. I am now the developer advocate, not developer community manager. That was one oversight that I did. That's all good. So if you haven't seen me around or heard from me, I am Mish, also known as Mish Manners online. As I said, also Hackathon Queen because I've run a multitude of hackathons now. But if you are looking for me, you can find me on pretty much any social media platform known to man. You can find me on Twitch streaming both coding and video gaming. Obviously, you can follow me on GitHub and plenty of other places as well. I'm on the DevRel team at GitHub. As I said, my title is now developer advocate, which literally changed like a week ago, which is why I hadn't changed that one. But yeah, I'm the developer advocate at GitHub on the DevRel team. We have a few of us in Australia now, which is really exciting. And it's such a great company to work at, but also an awesome product that we have. So I'm here today to talk to you about a bunch of top tips on how to use GitHub, how to GitHub like a boss, and then we'll also have a demo as well, something that is really fun. I'll show you some of the ways that I use GitHub pretty much on a daily basis. So all the things I'm talking about are things that I do every day, things that we use all the time, and I hope they're really exciting and useful for you too. I just love Michelle's comment in chat, actually. Like, Mish has all the stickers. Last time I did catch up with Michelle, she did get lots of stickers, so can confirm it's a thing. But today's top tips, I've broken them up into a couple of sections. So the first one we'll talk about is personalization, so how to actually personalize GitHub for you. The next one is collaboration. GitHub is very much known as this social coding platform. So, yes, there'll be a lot of collaboration happening here. Talk about the way that, not just the way I work, but the way that you can work on GitHub. And I mentioned a demo as well. Now, I've seen some couple of comments in the chat about the laptop with stickers. That is actually my laptop. So yes, when you do see me in person, that is literally what my laptop looks like. Okay, so the first thing on GitHub is personalization. So I love Legos. I always try and fit a photo or something about Lego into my presentation. So I thought about this one. So in the same way you would customize like your Lego models and you build something and something that's really you can customize your GitHub profile too. Now, one of the first ways to do that is similar to the way you would do a social media profile. So when you open up a social media account for the first time, some of the first things you might do is go in, add a profile picture, write a bit about yourself, and just kind of like set it up a little bit. Well, you can do that now on GitHub too. So we have this new thing called a profile README. So not only can you add really cool things like a profile photo and that now, you can now add a README to your actual GitHub profile. And the cool thing about this is that you can add anything you like to showcase you. You can add a bio of yourself. You can add some of the top projects you're working on. You can add some links to like maybe a website that you write about, articles that you're doing. You can obviously write some code in here. The whole thing's written in Markdown. So the sky's really the limit here in terms of a GitHub profile. So in order to create a profile README, all you need to do is create a repository that is the same name as your username. And when you do that, you'll see that you've like a little thing will pop up here saying you've created a special repository. Now you can, showcase this on your profile as a README. As I mentioned, it's all written in Markdown. So anything you can add into Markdown, you can pretty much add into a profile. So that includes things like GIFs. So this is Monica's one. She's got like a cute little GIF here of her Octocat, which I really love. And I loved it so much that I added it to mine as well. You can add images, and you can even add, as I said, it's coding. So you can add all these really funky things with code. One thing that I've seen a lot of people add on their profiles now is games. So they'll use GitHub Actions to set up a game that's running on their profile, and you can jump in and be part of that game, which is really, really fun. And I see Phil Dash has said that some people have forked his profile README, which is generally confusing. It kind of is, but I'll show you a little bit about that too. We can jump onto Phil's one later. But often when I'm looking for something, people say, what's some of the best things to do for a profile README and to set up? One of the cool things to do is to just look around on GitHub. And when you see a cool profile, I often just click the edit button to see how they've actually done it. And when you click the edit button, it forks that repo. So then you can actually have a look at it, copy some of the code. As Phil said, it kind of is a little bit confusing because you're like, why is somebody forking my personal repo? But it's because they like what you're doing, and therefore they want to do the same. So that's one really good way about going into building your profile reviews, see what other people do. The next one about really customizing things is something that not a lot of people do on GitHub. I often forget about it, and then I'll come back to it after a while. I'm like, well, that's a good thing to remember. It's the notifications. We've changed the way notifications work quite a lot. So notifications, if you haven't seen them for a while, if you go into like your just github.com and you're signed in, you'll see there's like a little bell up the top, and that is your notifications. So you can click that, and if you haven't been on there for a while, you can click that bell and it'll say like, hey, would you like to clean up some of these notifications? You haven't been on here for a while. But one of the cool things that we've changed recently with notifications is a better way to filter them. So because I not just work at GitHub, but I have a lot of organizations and teams that I'm part of on GitHub, sometimes I want to see certain things. I want to be able to filter certain things. So, for example, when I come in on a Monday, I don't want to see all this stuff from all my weekend projects or open source teams that I'm working with. I just want to see stuff from my GitHub org. So I can go into the notifications and filter by the organization. I can say, yeah, just show me stuff from GitHub. Or if I'm like, oh, I wonder what my team specifically say, B Dougie. I wonder what B Dougie's got for me. So I can go and filter by author as well. So I can go and filter that down. So I can really help manage my notifications, which is really cool. The next one is reminders. And reminders are a really good way to control the way you work. Again, I don't always want reminders for all my orgs. So we can set up reminders specific to each org that you're part of. And what you can even do is set reminders that are linked into Slack. So I'm integrated into Slack, so I can set up a reminder to say like, hey, if I haven't touched this issue in a few days, send me a reminder on Slack. You can set up things like Sleepbot as well, which tells you like, hey, no one's touched this issue for 14 days. It's going to close if no one does something to it. So you can go to your profile, go and choose the organization team that you're part of, and click on settings and set different reminders that you need, and really help take control of your work that way. So as I said, you can connect into Slack too, and you can set organization settings. So for example, if I only want to see Slack notifications to my GitHub org, I can send them to my GitHub Slack. Or if I wanted to set them for my open source org, I could set them to my open source team on Slack, which is really, really awesome. And I see people already stalking one another on how to do stuff. So I love that. So Aaron's got a GitHub action on his profile to update his README whenever he publishes a blog post. I really love that. And I'll show you some of the actions I have running on my profile as well. Now, talking about personalization of GitHub before we jump into a few other features, one of the things that people really, really ask for, and something that we launched last year at Universe, you've probably seen this GIF making its way around, or the video making its way around. This is one of our most loved tweets, and we put it out last year at Universe, was our GitHub dark mode, which is super exciting because like many people, I was also using an extension. Fun fact, the extension I was using was open source and available on GitHub. But yeah, I was using an extension, but now we have dark mode available natively in GitHub, which is really awesome. So if you haven't seen it, you can go to your profile and you can flip across up the top above your README profile, and you can flip to dark mode. And if you want to go into it a little bit more, if you've already used that feature, you can flip it up in your repository, or you can even go into your settings as well. We also have a new dim mode as well. So if you go into your profile settings, you'll see there's also a dim mode. So you can have like a dark mode, like a high contrasty type dim mode, or you can have light mode. Now, because I am a huge fan of dark mode, where possible, I'm going to be using dark mode for the rest of this presentation. And when we do the demo, I'll be using dark mode as well. So next one is collaboration. So here's a few ways to collaborate on GitHub. Now, one of them is project boards. So this is our project board that is publicly available, and it shows all our public roadmap. And our project boards are a really great way, not just for tracking overall progress of a project, but it's a really good way for developers and non-developers to work together. So with a project board, you can link to different issues, you can add notes, and it's just a really, really great way to collaborate. And it's something that I really love. Something that is also coming new is a new way to see and view projects. So this is currently available in public beta. So for example, instead of just having the overall board, you can now add and track specific issues and see their status, their assignees. You can add different categories that you want to add and filter by. And then once you've got this kind of like project-y board type thing set up, you can create different views and things like that as well. So for example, if I like this game loop view, I can go and add that as a new view here, which is really cool. So I can change that to a new view, and I can always have that done. You can view things as tables and boards, and this stuff is like super exciting. This is some new things that are coming. Another new thing that is coming, which is built into the project side of things, is task lists. So when you create an issue now and you've got a list of tasks that you want to do, you can go in and convert those tasks to issues. And then as you close them, they'll get ticked off on the original issue, which is really exciting because lots of people will often go in and start planning for a project. They'll like write a whole list of tasks and go, hey, we need actually issues for each one of these tasks. So now you can go and automatically do those. So as I said, those couple of features are coming soon. You can actually go in right now and sign up for the beta on those. And I'll show you where to do that. That's just on our page for this new project planning stuff, which is really cool. So another way to collaborate really well with people on GitHub is discussions. So if you haven't used discussions at all, or you're not part of an open source repo that is using discussions are really, really fun. So with discussions, you can talk about different things and discuss certain issues. Now, one of the reasons discussions exist is because often if you have a look back at issues, you'll look at some issues and go, wow, that thing really wasn't an issue, because an issue was really designed for telling people what issues are, whether it's a feature you want or bug fix or things like that, mostly bug fixes, right? So often people go, oh, we want this, new feature request. And it ends up becoming this giant big conversation. Like, why isn't this in a forum type thing? So now you can have a discussion about that. And if you ever find that your issues are becoming too much of like a conversationally type thing and you want to make it into a discussion, you can. So you can just go in and you can convert an issue into a discussion. So here we've got an issue and I'm like, oh yeah, this would be really cool. We should just convert it into a discussion. There's literally a button that says convert this into a discussion. It's super easy. So it's really exciting. So discussions can be enabled at a repository level, and some of the other project-y type things that I mentioned, like having that big giant project board, that has to be enabled at the organization level, so you can then track projects across different orgs. But discussions is specific for each repo, so you can set up a discussion for each repo if you like. Another thing that we have that we just launched publicly in beta on the 23rd of June and is now accessible in all public repos is issue forms. So if you are a maintainer of a project or you've got a team and you're like, okay, every time I get my team to submit an issue about a bug or a feature, like half the stuff isn't filled out. And no matter how much I create a really cool template for them to use, the half the stuff just isn't filled out. So what we've done is we've created this thing called issue forms. So if you want specific things to be added into a form, compulsory, you can now add those in. You can add tick boxes, you can add bullet points, you can add like little description boxes, you can add categories and things like that. So it's kind of like a Google form, but it's built into issues, which will make things a lot easier for maintainers and like team admins and things to start collecting information. So it's really cool. This is something that we'll go through a little bit in the demo too. So as I said, that one's publicly available to all publicly accessible repos as of the 23rd of June. It's currently in beta. So if you are using this or you end up using it after this talk, please give us feedback. We love your feedback. So I'll show you where to do that too. Now I'm going to dive into, we talked about some of the new features and things that have come up from like using GitHub. Now I'm going to talk about some of the ways that not just we use GitHub, but I use it personally every day in a way a lot of our users use GitHub, but also some of the ways that you might want to think about using GitHub if you really want to take your GitHub usage to the next level. So the first one is GitHub for mobile. Now I love GitHub for mobile because it allows you to take GitHub with you literally wherever you go. So it's available on both iOS and Android, and since it's available on both those platforms, it's not just available on, say, your mobile phone. You can also use it on your iPad. Now, what I like about GitHub for mobile is it allows you to do a whole bunch of different things like quickly comment on issues, review a bug fix, merge code. There's even discussions on mobile. So we have a look at a couple of the mobile screens. Like, say, for example, this is a home screen. So in the morning, like say on a Monday morning, I wake up, I roll out of bed. Actually, I don't even roll out of bed. I'm still in bed, but I check my phone. But I can roll over in bed, pick up my phone, open up GitHub and see, all right, what issues have been assigned to me this week? Now, it's Monday my time, so it's usually like Sunday still in the US, but we have a whole lot of GitHub actions set up to automatically open certain issues at the start of a week. So I can wake up, roll over, click on my issues and see what has been assigned to me for that week without even having to get out of bed before I make breakfast, which is really cool. I can also have a look at like what pull requests I might have missed from like an open source project or something I was working on over the weekend. And I can really just like look at all these different things and like have a really good sense of what's happening. Now, I don't just have to do this in bed. Obviously, we've been in lockdown, so I haven't been anywhere. But it's really useful when you're traveling on the go. I don't always have to pull out my laptop. I can be sitting at a cafe or in an airport, and it's just like really, really easy to check. There's also a couple other cool things on the mobile app, like GitHub Explore, so you can see like featured repositories and featured trending things. You can see like we've got some coding interviews and stuff. And there's even some new things like you can see like all our release notes straight on mobile now, which is really, really awesome. I like Phil Nash is like actions to open weekly issues sounds really interesting. It's actually really, really useful. So no one from my team has to go and open an issue at the start of the week. It's just automatically done for us, which is really great. Now, the other cool thing about mobile is we're always shipping new features to GitHub for mobile. So there's a couple of new things that we've shipped kind of recently, as I mentioned, release notes. But now there's a whole lot of new ways to filter things on mobile, which makes it really, really easy. Now, going back to that whole idea of personalization, being able to filter and manage your notifications, being able to filter all this stuff on mobile is super awesome. So I can filter issues by like labels, assignees. I can filter issues by like multiple labels as well, which is really cool. Someone's saying it's greatly improved since you last used the app. As I mentioned, we're always updating mobile. So if you haven't updated mobile in a while, go and update it. I think the last time I gave this talk, it was like a month ago, and we've already updated it since then. So this is new since that last talk that I gave a month ago. And the other cool thing about some of these filterings is, I'm just looking at the GIF now, you can actually filter by emojis, which is really cool. So if you want to filter by like, oh, which issues have given me a thumbs up, go check it. So as you mentioned, yeah, we do a lot of updates to mobile. So go and check them. Go and check it out. Download GitHub for mobile if you don't have it, or go and update it if you've already got it. So it's a really great way to just use GitHub on the go. As I mentioned, it's on iOS and Android, so you can have it on both phone, iPad, tablet, whatever you're using, which is really cool. Another way that I like to use GitHub is GitHub for Desktop, or GitHub Desktop, which is available on Windows and Mac OS. Now, the reason I like GitHub for Desktop is it's a really good way to manage your repos. And when you're working on a local like piece of code or like a local repository, a local Git environment, GitHub for Desktop is a really, really good way to manage that and see what you need to pull in or push out. As a non-developer by background, I love this because like I'll pop into GitHub for Desktop after I've made some changes, and it'll be like this big blue button that says, hey, you've got changes to push or you've got things to pull in. And it's really, really great, and I love it. So GitHub Desktop is awesome, and obviously same thing when you're pushing online. When you're making changes and you're about to update your main branch, you'll see that you can see all the changes that have been made to each file there, which is something I really like. So again, we're always making changes to desktop. So if you've got the desktop version, go and check it out and make sure you're up to date. So if you are not super into GitHub for mobile or GitHub for desktop, or you are a bit sick of using github.com, so there's 3 ways. You can use GitHub the 4th way, which is our GitHub CLI. This is something, again, we launched last year and is constantly in development, and there's so many exciting things that are always being done to the GitHub CLI. But developers are loving the CLI because it allows you to work seamlessly in one window. You can do so many things on the CLI. You can create, edit, view issues. You can check out PRs. You can merge PRs. You can do my personal favorite, which is cloning repos. You can now manage all your SSH keys from CLI as well, which is really, really, really useful. So, yeah, it's available on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. So it doesn't matter what platform you're using. The CLI is amazing. And fun fact about the CLI is the CLI is actually open source. So if you want to contribute to the CLI, you can. Obviously, there's no obligation for you to, but it's a really fun product to use. I've been using it quite a lot as well. So speaking about using things quite a lot, I thought I'd talk a little bit about and show you a demo about how I like to use GitHub. This is how I use GitHub on my live streams, how I use GitHub in my daily work, and it's super fun. So I'm going to switch to a demo. So if the team in StreamYard can put me on full screen, so I can stop sharing this screen and go start sharing a new screen. And then give me a second before I actually show everything, because right now there's going to be some funky Inception stuff going on. All right, let's pop that over there. And then, cool. So now you should be able to see my screen share. Awesome. Sweet. So this is GitHub, obviously. Using it in dark mode, which is really fun. So this is my GitHub profile README, and there's a whole lot of cool things going on in here. Now, as I mentioned, you can add lots of different things to your profile README. So I thought I might just go really briefly through some things that I've got. So I've got a GIF, which is really fun. People ask me where I got this GIF made. It is actually a GIF of my room, as you can see. Some of the things in here obviously show up in the image. I got that done on Fiverr, so I'm not an artist. Go to Fiverr if you want really cool stuff. I added a bunch of social media links. These are all just little images. Another GIF. So if you want a GitHub Octocat like this, you can go to my Octocat generator and build your own Octocat. So I will pop this link in the chat for everyone. So you can go and build your own Octocat. So you can go click get started. I'm just going to move this over to the side. And you can go and build your own Octocat, which is really, really cool. This is something we launched a couple of years ago now. People absolutely love it. You can go in and change different things and colors and add funky tops and do all kind of fancy things. So that's how you get that one. The next slide is GitHub Skyline. So if you haven't checked out Skyline, our Skyline got a lot of hype when it went live last year. It feels like we did a lot last year. So if you chuck in your username into the little bar here and click Create Skyline, you'll see a 3D contribution graph of your GitHub contributions, which is really awesome. So you can grab this, you can flip it around. There's some cool music. I've got it muted at the moment. If you want to grab a cool GIF of this, you can turn the UI off and just see it like that. You can also download the STL file, so you can go and 3D print it yourself like this, or you can go and get it printed by someone else as well. So that's really cool. Then there's some bunch of GitHub stats and things, and I also have some GitHub actions running on my profile. So this is a little snake that comes on my profile. So every 6 hours, I've set this action to generate a contribution graph of the last however long, and then the snake comes along and eats it. If you want to know how to do that, I wrote a dev post on how to do that. So I will grab that one for you and pop that in the chat. So this is something that I set up and, well, I didn't set this up, sorry. Something that I wrote on Dev2, and somebody else created this amazing action. I wrote a tutorial on how to actually put it in. So you can see it here, how to have an awesome GitHub profile, and I've linked back to here, which is the person who created it. If you ever share any open source stuff or anything that someone else has created, go and shout them out. It's a nice thing to do. So I've added them in here, which is really cool. There's a bunch of codes for this profile one. There's a bunch of code snippets on how to create an amazing profile. So onto GitHub itself. So one of the ways I love to use GitHub every day is when I'm either coding or I want to add some changes to a repo. What I'll do is I'll often come into GitHub, see which repo I want to do, make sure it's cloned onto my personal computer, use VS Code, make some changes, and then push that all up to GitHub. Now, I'm going to show you the process I use to do that and some of the different GitHub features, because I'm one of those people who I like using all the things. So when I use GitHub each day, I'm using the desktop, the CLI, the web, and you can choose which way you want to use it as well. So I have this repo set up called GitHub Like a Boss. It's a public repo that we use to do a whole bunch of demos and cool things like that. So say if I wanted to make some changes to this README, I could obviously click edit and make some changes. But what if I want to do it on my personal machine first and then make some changes and then add it to the repo? So one of the ways I would do that is to make sure I have this repo on my personal computer first. Now, the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use the CLI, and I'm going to make sure that I've got the GitHub CLI installed first by typing GH into my terminal of choice and seeing if I've got it installed. So obviously it's installed and there's a new version available, and literally I used this last like a few days ago. So there's new versions all the time. I can go grab the new version, or I can just keep using it right now if I like. So I'm just going to keep using it for the moment. So what I need to do is I need to CD into the location where all my repos are stored on my public computer, and that is not it. That's my NDC file. But if I go to my documents, I've got a folder here called Git Repos. So we're going to CD into that location, and we're going to clone the repo into here. So if we go into this location. And then we're just going to go gh repo clone. Hopefully this is big enough for everyone. I'll make it bigger. No. So gh repo clone. And then because you're using the GitHub CLI already, you don't need to write GitHub for this. You just need to write the name of the repo. So if I was cloning a GitHub repo, it would be GitHub/GitHub if I was working on our organization level. But this one's my personal account, so it's just Mish Manners, and it's GitHub like a boss is the name of the repo. Now if I hit that and enter, it'll say it's cloning. It'll say done. Sweet. So now if I go over to my folder, should have here. Beautiful. We can see it's got a little OneDrive spinning thing, which means it just got added. Now, the way I like to use these is to open them up in an editor of choice. My editor of choice is VS Code. This is something I was working on a little while ago. When I say a little while ago, I literally mean yesterday. So I'm just going to close this folder so we can open up a new one. And all I can do is I can drag this folder that I've just cloned. I can dump it into VS Code, and then it'll beautifully add everything in with all my nice files and everything all written here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a change to the README here. So let's just say, all right, I've got NDC talk here, NDC Melbourne, and so I've got like an image here. So this GitHub like a boss, I usually put like where this talk is being given. So let's just say this one abstract is same as above. We'll just make that small little change. We'll save that. Now, how do I know that it has been added to my repo in the cloud? And if I go back, have a look, and we click on refresh, we'll scroll down, and there'll probably be nothing there because right now the change is just made on my computer. So the way that I want to make sure that's updated, I like to use GitHub Desktop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this folder, this local folder in Desktop. I'm going to add that repository. And sweet. So it's already picked up that I've made a change. So we can see I've made a change here. It's on line 45. It's in the README file. And I want to commit that change to my main branch. So I can go commit. So now it's committed, but it's not pushed up to the cloud. So it's committed is my Git on my local machine. And now what I do is commit that to the cloud. So I can click push origin. And it'll do some fancy things. And it'll say, yes, you're all done, which is awesome. Now, what happens if I make a change on, so let's refresh that. What happens if I make a change on the cloud? So let's just make a change. Let's just make a real small one. Let's go share lots of tips and tricks, dig into the latest features, and sometimes even see a demo. So let's commit that. Just commit that directly to the main branch. Cool. So someone's asking I knew I would get a question about my VS Code theme. I'll jump into that in a second. All right, so let's go to desktop and let's have a look if there's been any changes made. So it should, give it a second and my internet will work, which should say there has been a change made on the machine. And actually, let's have a look here. It's taking a little bit, but let's open up VS Code. Actually, you know what? So since Aaron already asked what theme is this, this is a really cool theme for VS Code. And it's called VS Code Fortnite theme. I think it was Sarah, her name was. She was like, this is the most useless open source project I've ever shipped, and it's a Fortnite theme. You can even have like clouds and chickens, and if you set it up, you can even have a llama running across your screen. But I just have the colors because I really like it. So let's make a tiny change in here, and I'll show you what happens if I try and make a change on my local and try and push it up. So if I go commit, and it should make, there we go, it's giving me an error, which is perfect. That's what I want. So it says desktop is unable to push commits to this branch because there are commits on the remote that are not present in local. You need to fetch these before reconciling them. So we'll grab them. So this is why I like desktop, because it does all these things so you don't have to think like, oh, what's there, or what's that command for that thing, or git push, merge, I don't know what it is. So this is a really good one if you're getting non-developers to work with you as well. I just like it because it's got great UI. Please tell me you have the llama. No, I don't have the llama. I totally did not get the llama. Okay, perfect. So that's all done and changed, which is awesome. Now, one thing that we also shipped really recently that I want to show you before I jump back into a couple of the other features was this cool thing here. So if I go to a repository that I've been working on, so B-Doggy and I did this really cool like Git Twitch thing where we built a chatbot interaction between GitHub and Twitch, and I forked this repo and we worked on it for a while. Now, I haven't worked on this for a little while, which is why I had to scroll down quite a bit. Now, if I have a look at this, it says my branch is 7 commits ahead of the main, but it's now 11 commits behind B-Doggy's branch. I love this UI in GitHub because it tells you like how far ahead or behind you are. And it's got this brand new button, if you can see, I'm going to zoom in a bit more, that says fetch upstream. So I can click that and now I can just open a pull request straight from here, which is really cool. So if you've been working on something for a little while and you haven't worked on it and you come back to it and you're like, oh, I wonder if if I'm ahead or behind or what's happening. So you can go and fetch that in now, which is really cool. That was just something I really wanted to show off because it's really cool. Now, a couple of the other things I wanted to talk about were some of the new issues stuff that we show. I'm just keeping an eye on time. We've got about 10 minutes left for demo. So I talked about one of the new issues one of the new features we talked about with issues is being able to create form task lists. We'll come to forms instead, but create task lists for an issue. So say I want to, you like my setup, so let's Mish wants a new setup. Okay, here are the things I need for my new setup in my room. All right, I need just say I need a new computer. I actually don't need a new computer, but let's just say I need a new computer. I need some lights, and I want maybe some new, I always spell this wrong with peripherals. I knew I'd spell that wrong. It's always PH. Okay, that's a small list. Okay, cool. Let's go. Sweet. That's a pretty good overall project. Now, obviously, if I was writing a bigger project or if I was setting up a new house, for example, this list would be a lot longer. But for the purposes of this demo, we're just going to do 3 things. Okay, submit new issue. So there we go. Okay, this is pretty cool. And I'm like, ooh, I actually want to build my own computer for this. So I'm probably going to need a list of that list. Now, one thing I could do is obviously go edit and add like another layer of list and maybe add like bullet points, but it's probably not going to be what I want, so let's cancel that. So that's not really what I want, but ooh, actually, what's this new thing? Okay, I can convert this to an issue, so let's go and convert that to an issue. Ooh, look, there's an issue. Oh, let's say what issues are all these things. Okay, so now I can go into here and go, oh, look, there's a new issue that's being created. Sweet, there's no description because obviously it just creates it with blank. So let's go, right, my new computer. I want to be really bold. I want a 3080 RTX Ti graphics card. I want 64 gig of RAM. I also might want to buy a heatsink. That'll do for the moment. I won't get too greedy right now. Gold for Australia. Yes, go for us. So say I've got these things and I'm like, cool. This task list is now done. So say I bought all these things. I've been really ambitious. You can see the progress bar up the top here is telling me how many tasks I've completed and also telling me where this issue is being tracked. So say this issue is tracked in another issue, and if I can hover over that, I can see the things there. So say I've done that. So all 3 tasks are done. Now, what happens if I go back to that issue? Would that issue be ticked off as complete for that thing? Now, obviously, I need to refresh, but it should be tracking it there. And sometimes it works, sometimes not. There we go. So I can go tick that off there. And go 1 of 3 tasks. Then I can go into my lights. Go, cool. All right, what lights do I want here? Let's go. I want the new Elgato ring light, nano leaves, something like that. Some YFix lights, maybe a Philips hue, and then put them all in a Google Nest using Home Assistant. Whoops, I can't type today. With GitHub Actions. Sweet. Done. Sounds pretty cool. So let's tick all those off. I won't tick off the last one because that is actually a live stream that I'm eventually going to be doing very soon. I bought a Google Nest and we're using Home Assistant, some fancy GitHub Actions. GitHub to manage shopping lists. You laugh, but I actually use GitHub to manage my shopping list, which is really exciting. Sounds exciting, kind of. All right, let's go. I want to show you about how to do the issue forms because this one's really exciting. We'll just do them directly in GitHub just for fun because I can show you the previews as we're going. But I set up one before here, this little test file here. What I can do is I can set up an issue form. Now, if you haven't used issue templates or issue forms before, your issue templates lives under your .github and this folder called issue template. That means whenever I open up an issue and I see like these things here, these are all the templates here. But say we want to create a template, we want to build a new issue form. So the issue forms are run on YAML files. So let's go add a file, create new file, and we're going to call this request demo. I want to build a form for it. Since it's my GitHub like a boss, I want to build a form for requesting a live demo. And I'll just do a really short one so we can jump into a couple of questions. So say we want this one, we want request a demo from Mish. That did not work up there. We want .yaml. There we go. Perfect. So it says now, I was like, why is it not popping up? Here we go. This is an issue template. Need help? Check out the documentation. Now we can obviously preview that, but it's in YAML, so that's all good. So let's go. We want a description here. I'll make this a little bit bigger so you can actually see it. Let's go. Right, we want a description, and we're going to call this ask Mish to demo something GitHubby. I'm just reading some of the comments as I'm going. Title. Let's go. Request. And then whatever the title is that somebody types in. Then we can add labels to it as well. So we want labels. What are the labels I've got in this one? Let's have a look. Labels. So I've got bug, documentation, enhancement. Let's just put one as Twitch. Twitch will do. Labels, and we'll go Twitch and maybe enhancement. Enhancement. We want feature enhancement. Did I spell that right? This is my problem with coding. I always spell things wrong. Assignees, and we'll assign myself to it. That'll do. Need to type there. Fish matters. Perfect. All right. So we want the body of this to be in next. Actually, we need to type in what type we want. So we want this to be Markdown. So we want this issue to be done and written in Markdown. We also want some attributes for it. So these attributes are going to be the form that we fill out. I don't think I spelled that wrong. Attributes. Again, this is my problem with coding. I always mess up the actual spelling of things. I'm like, why does my thing not work? Okay, value. So the value is like the thing that we want to give people when they fill out the form. So thanks for requesting a demo. We'll get back to you soon. We will get back to you soon. Make that easy so I don't have to worry about the comma. There. Okay, now we want type. So we want this to be an input type. So we want people to be able to fill out this form. So we're going to go type. This is the input. So this bit up the top will be what they see. It'll be like a little bit of a text, which is why it's just written in Markdown. Then this next bit is going to be user input. So let's go. All right, let's go. We want some contact details from this person. Attributes. And we want to grab their contact details. So let's go description. Now, if you have a look at the documentation, we can make this whole bit really easy by just copying and pasting some of the code we've got here as well. So if we go syntax for issue forms, you can have a look at all of the stuff here. I want to wrap this up so I can answer a question or two. So let's just grab all this, and then we're going to basically copy and paste this in, and we can go up the top here. Demo request. Ask.
I've just snuck in the background here, Mish.
Yeah.
We didn't have any questions on Slido because you were very, very, very good at answering questions on YouTube.
Oh, there we go. So I'll keep going for 1 more minute, so we'll finish this up.
I did have a question.
Yeah, cool.
Just because. No, I just wondered, because you went through a million things now. Is there one or two that you would pick out and say, hey, if you just want to focus on really getting some, productivity or whatever, these are the things you would focus on?
Yeah, cool. So if you're really wanting to get into some of the productivity stuff, I really, really like the project boards. Now, as I mentioned, our GitHub public roadmap is available on project boards, and it's available as project boards. So if you go and look at it, it's just really, really simple and easy. Now, this is my number one thing. Now, when somebody mentioned in the chat, GitHub for shopping lists, I actually use a project board, like a GitHub project board, to manage my life. And I have a column for things that need to get done. I have a column for GitHub stuff that needs to get done. I have a column for tracking issues that I just want to keep an eye on, but I'm not sure where exactly I want to put them. And I play a lot of Pokemon Go, so I have a column for Pokemon Go and which Pokemon I'm going to be trading to my friends next. So
that's awesome. What about one for rare Octocat stickers?
Yeah, so the roadmap, go and have a look at it as an example of how to do it. But I think the projects are really exciting, which is why this the GitHub issues is the new project boards are going to be really exciting, giving you all these different views on how to do stuff.
That's awesome.
So I think it's really cool, and I will, once I finish up talking here, I will pop some links into the chat. But basically, if you want to find out more about what's happening, come follow us on Twitter and YouTube, because we're always shipping new features. And just hit me up on any of the socials if you want to know more. But yeah, it's really exciting, all the different things we're doing, and I think the new project stuff is.
Oh, I'm just absorbing your enthusiasm. It's really cool. That's awesome.
I'm glad.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, thank you so much, Mish. We're gonna go to something stretchy now, actually.
Also, I'm actually going to join in for the yoga because I'm really excited for yoga. So I'm sticking around to join in.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mish, and thanks for being part of NDC Melbourne. That's awesome.